Hello and welcome back to another episode of Strong Collectors Comics. My name is Jordan and I'm joined today as ever by my plucky co-host Dakota. Valentine's Day is almost upon us, and with love in the air, as our Marvel heroes usually tend to do, we're thinking about some of these Marvel relationships. Now, the sad thing, a lot of these relationships tend not to last very long, right? So we've been dreaming up, potentially in the future, some romances that we could see with Marvel characters. A little bit of Marvel matchmaking. And even if some of these characters are in relationships, as I said, those fizzle out pretty quick. There's editorial mandates, but we still want our heroes and maybe some villains to be happy and in love around Valentine's Day. So, right off the bat, Dakota, I'm thinking about the Punisher, of course.
He needs some love in his life.
Naturally, the Punisher, I think, yes. We know the tragic backstory, family gets murdered, all that. Very sad, of course.
Boo-hoo.
But, get over it, Frank. It was a long time ago, buddy. Got to get back in the saddle. I initially was thinking of him, and I'm thinking, who could the Punisher date? Who could it be? And I kept coming back to none other than Black Widow.
Yeah, I could see that.
Now, I did a little research, Dakota, to see if that had been thought of first. I do think there was like a short DVD movie or something called the something.
I think you got the wrong DVD, Jordan.
No, it wasn't inappropriate. I promise. It was, everyone had their clothes on. It was animated, but it was some kind of like, one of those like Marvel spin-off team up whatevers. But I don't really think it went anywhere, and I don't think it's happened in the comic books. And to me, that seems like it'd be kind of a no-brainer for a romance, right? You both got the special ops background. I think the problem with Punisher is always, he doesn't get along with people because it's like, I got to do whatever it takes to get the mission done, even if I got to take some people out, right? Mm-hmm. Black Widow, I don't think would have many qualms with that. So I think you could do a pretty cool, like, team up. Maybe they're against each other a little bit. But I think if anybody could understand Frank and see what he's going for, it'd probably be the Black Widow.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I'm surprised that hasn't happened because, that seems right. Like a match made in wherever you make those kinds of matches.
Match made at the shooting range, I suppose.
Right, yeah.
Maybe that's where they meet. It's like a meet cute. Like they're both there practicing their, firing, and they don't.
Yeah. They're just like making hearts on the paper.
Oh, it's like, can I borrow one of your clips? Yeah.
Their hands touch.
Oh, while they're both reaching the...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, kind of a Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing going on. Yeah. I actually think that would be kind of a fun story, and I think that'd be a cool matchup. It's a cool idea, but I think you could actually do something like interesting with the story, in my opinion.
I agree. I think that's a good idea.
So that's my first Marvel romance I'd like to see.
That's going to be hard to top, Jordan. What else you got?
Okay, so another one, of course, our guy Spider-Man, right? Peter Parker, infamously bad luck with love, has had a lot of people come and go, and we know Marvel editorial is never really going to let him get back with Mary Jane, Dakota, so I think we need to accept that ship has sailed and Gwen's not coming back, right? So I was doing a little bit of head-scratching, and I think it needs to be someone a little bit rougher around the edges. For
bad
Peter.
girl, you might say.
A little bit, yes. I think he needs that. And we know he loves his redheads. So, of course, Dakota, he's going to start dating Elsa Bloodstone. Now, I don't know exactly how that's going to happen. Maybe he's chasing the vermin. They meet. They have a little, hey, you can't quite do that. And then it's like, ooh, maybe, she's got the tragic past backstory. He might connect to that kind of thing. And you could probably do some fun stories with Spider-Man fighting monsters. Elsa Bloodstone's there. But she might kind of like the nerdy, quirky Peter Parker as she gets to know him.
I could see that. I don't know if I see it quite as much as I see Punisher and Black Widow. But I like the efforts there because I think there is a lot of like Spider-Man. He's got his like monstery type of. Maybe it's more like he gets turned into the spider monster again.
Heck yeah, there you go. He's the man spider. Yeah. Oh, and that's how they. Okay, would
she
you be
starts
okay
off hunting and then. Oh, you're okay. Here we go.
The hunt for the monster became the hunt for his heart.
Oh,
So I love that. So she can fight him. She kind of like helps Kira maybe,
mm-hmm.
and through that they have this connection. And then, so would you be okay with that if that was how the romance began? Would
Yeah,
you buy it then?
I think so. I'd be down
Okay,
for
so
that.
it's not the idea of it. It's like how would this come to be?
It's like a Beauty and the Beast type of thing, you know?
Yes, exactly. Okay, so we got to turn Peter into Man Spider soon, and then that again, I think that would make sense. And I
Yeah.
would, because I also think the problem with Spider-Man is when I don't really think he can keep dating civilians. You know, it just never
Mm-hmm.
works out. They always complain and they don't understand. And I think he needs somebody that, I think that's where the Black Cat thing kind of works, but they never
Mm-hmm.
seem to want to commit to that. So
Right.
we bring in a ringer. Elsa Bloodstone, I don't think is doing much else in comics. So
True. Yeah.
okay,
There we go. I like it.
all right. I think I also want to find a girlfriend for Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who that can be. What about like a mystical? What about Magic? Or is she a teenager or is she grown up? She's probably grown up by now, isn't she?
Yeah, it's that weird like time travel thing where it's like technically she was born at this time, but then she spent this much time, but time passes farther. And so I think she's like, I'd call her mid-20s is my guess.
Okay, yeah, we could probably
Yeah,
make that work.
I think that could work.
She's kind of got that demonic, hellish thing going on.
Yeah, I mean she's kind of Queen of Limbo at some points, and I think that could work out pretty good actually.
Okay,
I like it.
so we got a date there. My big one I'm really thinking about is we need to find a girlfriend for Mole Man.
Ooh.
And you know, he's a very particular guy. He'd probably need a very particular kind of partner. So Mole Man, Dakota, is he going to be dating a hero or a villain? Is the first question.
I feel like Mole Man could find himself kind of one of those heroes. Like I think, again, like I don't think it'd be more of like that gray area hero, like a Elsa Bloodstone, like a
Right.
Black Widow, where it's like they're saving the day, but if you're I could see them like somebody comes along, bullies their partner Mole Man, and they're just gonna like not really gonna take that. They're gonna like I don't know if they're gonna chop off his head, but
But,
they're not gonna let anybody bully their man.
right. Yeah, and I think Mole Man, he's kind of got that misunderstood. He's living underground. People shunned him. So my brain went right to like an X-Men type, somebody
Yeah.
who's like, we know what it is to be like you're oppressed or judged based on who you are, how you look. There's got to be some X-Man that would go on a date with Mole Man, right? I mean, come on.
Right.
Maybe like a monster or something? You'd probably want to date a monster.
I think so, yeah. He's not going to want your conventional beauty standard type of romance.
Yeah, maybe like, I don't know. Now I just want to see a whole thing centered around Mole Man looking for love, because that actually sounds like a great premise to me.
I mean, X-Men Black Mojo was Mojo trying to get a date with this one chick.
Oh,
So
okay.
stories like that have been told.
So we
Like
can have,
Glob Herman like helps him out. He's like, "Oh, you got to be yourself. Tell her what you like." So,
okay. Yeah. I mean, and then at that point we can reform Mole Man, make him maybe a little more heroic or something, because, I don't know. I'd give him a stint as a hero.
yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like, I mean, I haven't read a lot of Mole Man stories, but I get the vibes similar to like Poison Ivy, where it's like they're a villain, but it's kind of like you were like you outcast this like the monsters and whatever,
Right.
and like they're just trying to find their spot in the world,
Yeah. What do you expect,
Yeah.
when you make me live underground with all these moloids?
Right. Somebody that I think also needs a love interest, Jordan, is Galactus.
Oh, that is a great one. Okay.
And I think
Yeah.
I know, like, I think, like, okay, who can, like, be at his level, like, scale and power-wise, but I'm like, but also, like, I think we could just go, like, a standard person.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to be some giant celestial or anything like that.
I'd agree with that.
So who do we have?
Oh, I thought you had somebody.
No,
like,
no,
man,
I
he's
wanna-
really fleshed it out.
No, I want to know. I'm thinking, like,
Okay.
because I'm thinking, like, maybe an Eternal, like, Cersei or something like that, but it's Because, like, used to, like, the cosmic beings.
Kinda
They're not going to be like,
ancient.
yeah.
Not like a machine or something. Would he a
Mhm.
robot? Would he date a robot? Would
Maybe.
Galactus date a robot? That's the questions we're asking here, guys.
Trying to think of, I don't even
That's-
know of any robot women other than, like, Viv Vision, but I don't think she's a little too young to be.
I was doing like a Jocasta, like
Oh, okay.
Ultron's mate that he created that rejected him.
I could see
perhaps.
that. I just see, like,
Puts on-
Galactus, like, in his, like, his full, like, giant horns and whatever helmet thing, but they're out on the town walking through the streets. Oh, this diner?
He puts on
sharing
something
a-
nice.
Yeah, he's got, like, a tux, but he's still got his... I like it. Somebody draw that for me.
He's probably going to end up in our story going on a date with Aunt May, but, who cares? I mean,
Yeah, there you go.
Peter, I met this lovely man. He walks in, Galactus is just sitting at the dinner table.
I'm hungry.
These wheat cakes. I love eating planets, but these wheat cakes are fantastic.
That's funny.
I want to see that image now, like Galactus sitting at Aunt May's table eating a wheat cake. That's what he says. Planets are tasty, but wheat cakes are better or something. That's good.
Nothing
Somebody needs to
satisfies
draw
me
that.
quite like you, May.
Peter's like, how does this keep happening? Okay, so we've talked about a couple heroes. We've gone cosmic. I think there's one earthbound character who needs romance, and that's definitely Doctor Doom.
Yep.
Now, obviously, you always have, he's kind of trying to get with Sue Storm at times, never really works out. I think he had a pseudo Emma Frost romance. I go right to the Sorcerers, but I think he's dated some of them.
Yeah, Morgan Le Fay he has, I remember.
Right.
What about, like, a Scarlet Witch? that-
I think there was some story where she had amnesia, and they did kind of date.
Interesting.
I don't think it was inappropriate because I think she was. I don't think it was like mind control. I think she literally just like, maybe because she didn't have her memory, was like okay with hanging out with Doom
Interesting.
for a while.
But also at the same time, like even if you have amnesia, like I would think like somebody introduces themselves, like, "Hi, I'm Dr. Doom," and be like, "Nah, I don't know if I want to date somebody named Dr. Doom." It'd be like the same thing as like, "Hi, I'm Dr. Evil." Like, "Oh, would you like to go on a date, Dr. Evil?" No,
Maybe. Okay.
but I
so
don't,
Doom.
maybe it's all the fantasy books now are getting girls to go for the bad boys.
That's true, and maybe he's a little, misunderstood or something. I mean, I don't know. I go right to like some kind of other international power. I don't know who that could be. Silver Sable or something, but that seems maybe that's too far.
I was thinking
out
like
there.
somebody from Alpha Flight or something like that.
Sasquatch.
Yeah. I just see like Alpha Flight bust into like stop Dr. Doom, and Dr. Doom's like, "Wait a minute, Sasquatch, are you wearing pants?" "No, actually, I'm not." "Would you like to get dinner sometime?"
I was thinking they go to Busta, but Sasquatch is already there having dinner with Doctor. He's like, "Listen, guys, listen. Just think about this for a couple minutes." Oh my god. Okay.
They'd both be very smart.
Okay, well, all right. So we're trying that. I think at least before Dakota, we need at least a couple civilians that we need to find love. Of course, you got. I think J. Jonah Jameson has had. Has he ever had romance? I think his dad was like dating Aunt May for a while. I don't know if you kept up with that.
Oh, I thought J. Jonah Jameson's dad was dating Aunt May.
Yeah,
I thought J. Jonah Jameson was dating Aunt May. I don't know. Probably happened.
No,
at some
I'm
point.
pretty sure it was his dad.
Okay.
And then that was kind of the weird part because then he and Peter were like going to be related almost.
Oh. They stepbrothers.
Not that we need to. That actually is a funny idea. What about like a Jarvis and Aunt May? You think they've dated before?
I don't know. I could see it though. I feel like
Folks,
Jarvis
tell us in
is-
the comments if there's an obscure comic where that happened. But I think that would work out.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I think that the MCU, and I don't really want them. I mean, I guess they can't use Aunt May MCU style. She's dead now, but I think I would just want something like completely separate from the MCU, but like an Aunt May soap opera. I think I've pitched that for you. I don't know if it's been on the show before, but I think an
Right.
anime soap opera would be so funny.
Just her living her life.
Just
Doing her
like, you know,
thing.
there's like hints of like, oh man, my nephew's weird. He's always coming and going at weird times. Got to get that boy
Okay.
under control.
Right.
Like, oh man, the city is just so many crazy animal type villains running around.
Right. It's just trying to like go get her groceries, and her
Right.
cars are getting blown up. Do we get into like her getting kidnapped and replaced with androids, or is that more
Ooh.
like,
I think that works
because
very
that
well,
has happened?
I think
I don't
that
know
would
if
be
you-
fun. Because that'd be
Yeah.
very like telenovela, like it's just like a big like reveal at the end of an episode, like
Right.
Aunt May gets shot, but then it's like you see like the sparks and wires, and it's like, well, Aunt May's been replaced by a robot. Tune in next week.
Right. Exactly. Because I think that happened where in the 90s she had this really emotional death, and then it turned out the one that died was an android, which is just the craziest thing to have happen to you. So
Yeah.
that could be the running gag, is these just. Of course, you'd have the Doc Ock romance plot. I mean, that's a gold mine. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's no shortage of romance tales we could spin with these characters.
Yeah, I think it's staying. I'm getting off topic here, but
yeah, okay.
I have to bring up my most favorite episode of anything ever, X-Men '97, episode 5.
Right.
I was watching that with my wife, and she was like, "Everybody is just kissing everybody in this show." Because you've got
That's
Jean
true.
kisses Wolverine, then Jean finds Scott with Madeline Pryor, then you've got Gambit, Magneto, Rogue love triangle.
Love triangle.
It's a lot of relationships for a 25-30 minute episode. So
I mean, dude, that's how the X-Men roll, man.
I
A lot of things
guess
happen in that X-Mansion. They're all cooped up.
true.
A lot of hormones. They probably got extra hormones because of the mutant gene. So
Extra hormones, yeah.
extra. Yeah, it's. I mean,
Wrong movie. No, don't look at that. Don't look at that.
triple X, man. Oh, jeez. Is this what you
Is this
envisioned?
what we
Dakota?
want?
Is this what you thought would happen when we sat down to talk about this topic? I don't know. I do think part of the problem is that basically as soon as, in any story, as soon as you get a characters together, it gets less interesting for a lot of people, right? So I think especially with superheroes, it's tough because then they get together and then they're less interesting because it's like there's not that, what are we going to resolve the problem? You know, it's kind of like something's gotten figured out, which I do think is why they got rid of the Mary Jane Peter thing. I think you could have made that work. But I think in general, I would like to see more lasting romances on a serious note in comics. I think would be cool to see. Like I think we talked about before, the Storm Black Panther. I think that lasted for like 2 years maybe. But I think that's something that like if you could really make it work and it's thought out, you can make that kind of thing last and be interesting.
Because I'm trying to think of like relationships that have actually lasted. And it's like Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman.
It's like one. Even like Daredevil, Elektra, and iconic romance, they're not really like together. It's just kind of like they date sometimes.
Right. Even Cyclops and Jean Grey are kind of.
Then he left her for Clone and then ditched his Clone as soon as she came back. Not a great move.
Right.
Been there, done that. You know, I mean, who hasn't? Who hasn't left their wife for their clone and then married their clone on accident and then left their clone wife for their old girlfriend? You know, it's
a Tuesday in the X Mansion.
Whoops. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough to think. I mean, even.
I mean, going over to DC, even you've got like Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
And then.
I mean, Batman never has anybody consistent.
Nope. Robin and Starfire, or like Nightwing and Starfire, but even that's not really.
And even then, he kind of dates Batgirl sometimes.
Exactly. Right. So.
I mean.
Bunch of sluts in these comics is what it is.
That's what I'm saying. So somebody needs to write some books where these these characters have some standards and can maintain a mature, healthy, and adult relationship. And we're going to start with Galactus and Aunt May, folks. So if you enjoyed hearing this, please let us know, because we don't want to think we're the only ones who had a good time. Let us know if you'd like to hear more discussions about character romance, because as you can see from Dakota, we've got no shortage of ideas on these kind of things. So please be liking, sharing, and subscribing. And until next time, as always, stay strong. What is his sperm like?